Hey everyone, so we need to talk. I want to tell you how working hard whilst you're at work can quite literally be killing you. And I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm now learning some important lessons about life, albeit a bit later in the game. Now I'm one of them guys that used to have a really solid work ethic. You work really hard, you do these things and you'll be rewarded. And that's kind of now an old school mentality, and it doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately. Now, let me give you an example of just what I mean by that. So I work in retail, and because I go to the gym, or I used to go to the gym, and I used to be really agile, I was thought of as a great worker. So what would happen, because I'm a great worker, is that I would be put on all of the physical activities at work. This is lifting big pallets up on a stack. This is constantly putting out stock all day in all different departments. So what it meant is that I've been constantly on my feet for years now for my entire shift. So sometimes my shift pattern might be a 6-hour shift. That's not too bad. But other times it's often an 8-hour shift or even a 10-hour shift. So if you think about that, that could be 10 hours constantly on my feet. Now, whilst I was in my early 20s and I had bags of energy and enthusiasm, and I was a lot bigger in terms of muscular, I didn't mind that, or at least I thought I didn't at the time, because it fitted my personality great. It's essentially a big workout, and I really enjoyed it in many respects. However, as you get older, guys, you start to get burnout, and you need to realize this. This is my advice to you, especially as a guy almost 40. You know, once you're in your 30s, you notice massive changes in your body. It's just, your body just is not the same anymore. It doesn't move the same way. You don't have the same levels of energy. So you have to be selective with the things that you do. You only have a limited battery in your body, guys, and you have to be selective. So what I found was, whereas other colleagues were maybe sat on a till, scanning away, chatting away, and they were sat down a lot and they're getting that back support and things, that when they would leave their shift, they're going home with bags of energy. They'd tell me the next day about all the things that they did last night, and, you know, all the things that they did with their kids and they did with their family. And I'd be going home after my 10 hours on my feet. I'd be going home absolutely exhausted. I'd often go home and have a quick power nap to try and recharge a little bit of my battery because I was totally burnt out. At the time, I didn't see it that way. I thought I was just being productive, just being, you know, energetic, just being a good guy, basically. But really what's happening is, over time, you see it a little differently. They were using my energy and depleting me. So I'd have little time for my family, little time for my friends, little time for my girlfriend. You know, I've got plans and stuff outside of work, and I used to be able to do them a lot more. But then over time, I noticed that I'm basically, when you're an employee, you're being used. And what happens is they start to use you the more reliable that they see you. And I should have never allowed things to get that way. A lot of that's my own fault. And like you said, the saying goes, you know, better late than never. Never allow somebody to use you up that way. So yeah, I would literally come home and I'd be exhausted. And what do I get for it? I end up with a bad back. There'll be times where you hurt your shoulder, you hurt your arm. You know, if you're constantly working all day, sometimes you might be bending down, so you hurt your knee, or your knee's a little bit funny. You only get one body, guys. And as that goes into older age, you notice things a bit more. When that knee goes or your back goes, it takes a little bit longer to heal. And sometimes it doesn't always heal the same way. So you have to be so selective with the energy that you use. Now, hear me out, because I'm not one of them crazy people that's like, you know, quiet quitting, do some quiet quitting and don't work at all. You've got to work, and you should work to a certain standard, but just don't be used while you're at work. Like, I think I allowed myself to be taken advantage of too much at work, and I should have held some back, basically, and not worked so hard. I should have made a point of demanding that I wasn't on my feet all the time, because I have to be protected too. We need to, as a business, share the responsibilities out. But what happens is, when they find somebody that's a hard worker, they just completely stack on them and stack on them and stack on them until they break. And I'm seeing that now. There are some great managers and friends that I have who I work with, and they just get task after task put on them until they go home broke and exhausted. And in a way, that is their fault for allowing it. You have to have the confidence and the ability to push back when whatever business that you're in. Never be scared to speak back to, your manager or senior managers and push back. Why is it always me getting these tasks? Why isn't it them? Why don't we share these tasks out? I seem to have more tasks than that person. It's important that these things get pushed around because, like I say, eventually, I've noticed now getting to my old age, when I'm stood up for too long, I get tension in the top part of my back. And it only takes about, I'd say, 3 to 4 hours now, and that starts kicking in. So after a while, I have to sit down. It's important for me to sit down, regain my posture. I don't always have the best posture as well. I spent years when I was younger carrying my little bag, too strapped over my shoulder, thinking that I was great. And what happens is, as a result, when you're carrying a bag a lot, you overcompensate. So I tend to have poor posture anyway, a little bit. And it's something I'm trying to work on, trying to get my posture better. But ultimately, as a result of that, probably mixed with as well me not going to the gym. So I've lost a little bit of muscle, something that I want to get back. I believe that my core and my back has weakened a little bit. And as a result, I start to get backache. So my advice to you guys, especially if you're young, just make sure that you're not being used all the time, that when you're being allocated work, because of course you've got to work when you're going to work, that's the whole point, that's why they call it work, but just make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. It's so important that you're not taken advantage of. If a business sees that you're really hard worker or you're really competent, chances are they're going to try and put more onto you than they will another colleague that they see as less competent. It's just how things go. If they can use you without any fuss, they will do. Just make sure you know where you stand. Make sure that other colleagues are pulling their weight and it's not all on you, because I'll promise you now, you do not want to go home exhausted, guys, and have no time to build a family, to spend time with your friends, to spend time having fun, because ultimately that is what life's about. I now, at my age, I'm looking to make massive lifestyle changes. I mentioned this in one of my first videos. I want to live a more rural lifestyle. I want to live in the countryside. I want to get a work-life balance that matches me, that works a bit better for me. And I want to spend less time doing physical stuff, at least while I'm at work anyway. I am still happy to go gym on my terms to build muscle and things, but I don't want to keep being on my feet all day, working hard for other people. So I'm definitely looking for a complete lifestyle change. And in the background, I also want to set up a business that I'm going to hopefully document in the coming weeks. I am doing some work in the background, but eventually I want to roll something out and I'll probably document bits and bobs as I do it. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. But that's my advice anyway. Just make sure you save your battery for you and you've got time left for your family and your loved ones, because that's what life's about.